But then I spend more on my e-wallet because I don't see the cash like, leaving the wallet.
Pero guys, alam nyo nang mahal talaga yung 25 pesos. Kasi kahit mga mayayaman, like Cheska, Sean, namamahalan sa 25 pesos na transfer fee.
Adds up. Alam mo,
It is, yeah. If you keep on transferring, no, it does.
Part of that is already 100.
Galing magbasa.
Oo, di ba?
No, but that's true though. Those fees really...
Yeah, it really adds up.
Yeah.
Masakit siya. Even yung parang, you're just gonna check your balance sometimes and you have to pay 2 pesos just to find out you have no money anymore.
Totoo. Or maghahanap ka na lang, may mga iba naman, mas mababa yung transfer fee. May 10 pesos lang.
Yes. So, ganun na ngayon yung labanan ng mga bangko, di ba?
Yes, mas mababa. But anyway, thank you again for another insightful show, informative show. At nalaman ko na mamahalan din pala si Sean Yao sa 25 pesos sa transfer fee. Thank you to Sean, to Regina, and to Pawi. Again, before we move on to our show, sabi mag-usap daw muna tayo. But no, going back to that, kung nabitin kayo, sabi ko nga, I was telling Cheska earlier, we were talking, sabi ko parang nabitin sila. You can always come by to our show,
What do you mean?
Parang
We're
ayaw.
here.
No, I mean guess. Ay, nagtatagal na nga ng mic yung isa.
You mean?
I'm going home, man.
Stretch daw, bro.
Sino na ako na to?
Bro, stretch
I'm
daw.
going home.
Ano?
Overtime pay ba to?
Water, she's
Hindi.
ready to go.
Alam mo kanina, nung last commercial break, nandito na si Cheska, tinatanong ko sa kanya,
Yeah.
ano guys, Luka Doncic pa rin ba? Or Ha Erpin?
Ay,
Nasaan
hindi.
na ba yung...
But you'll find out who will have her on our show. Actually, we have a jam-packed show. Okay, may thumbs up na. Thank you again to the big story, to Sean, to Regina, and to Pawi. We got updates from the NBA, including a historic night from Kevin Durant. Plus, the Los Angeles Lakers find their big man in the free agent market.
And we speak to Gilas Pilipinas and Ginebra head coach Tim Cone live via Zoom about the national team's training camp and the Gin Kings playoff run in the PBA Commissioner's Cup.
A lot to talk about to Coach Tim Cone. I'm Andre Felix.
And I'm Cheska Tuncalo.
And here's tonight's play-by-play.
Ramiro, the show by Mamoy leaves, Mr. Moves puts it on. Unbelievable. Gemma on the left side. Oh, pass! Another one. Bakunas rejecting Estevo for the
Let's start off in the NBA as the Memphis Grizzlies prevail over the Phoenix Suns to spoil a historic night for Kevin Durant. The Grizz saw a once 19-point lead cut down to 3 late in the game, but they managed to hold on for a 119-112 victory. Ja Morant, that man, switching hands, just going off with 26 points to go along with his 7 rebounds and 6 assists. Desmond Bane, meanwhile, adding 20 markers in the win in Phoenix. The Grizz also got a combined 44 points from their bench. Durant led all scorers with 34 points in a losing effort for the Suns, but he had a career milestone that only a handful of players have achieved. With a free throw late in the third period, KD became just the 8th Cager in the NBA in NBA history to reach 30,000 career points in the regular season. After the game, Morant handed Durant the game ball as a sign of respect. In separate post-game interviews, the two superstars had nothing but nice things to say about each other.
He one of the greats. He one of the greats. So I honored him with the ball. He said he ain't care too much about it, but hey, everybody don't get 30K in this league. So hats off to him, and I hope he keep going. We want to see him out here.
Yeah, I mean, that's always been a goal of mine, more so than anything in this game, is to gain respect from the hoopers that play. So for Ja to show me that respect, it means a lot to me. He's a young player that I admire since he was in college, and I can see a few of these young players in the league reaching that milestone as well. So it was a solid night outside of the L.
Speaking of making history, Malik Beasley and the Detroit Pistons set their own records in a lopsided win over the Chicago Bulls. Detroit went for the kill right from the start, which led to a franchise record 42-point lead at halftime. The Pistons ended up getting the victory by 40 points, 132-92. Beasley finished with a game-high 24 points. Those include 7 triples to set the Pistons record for the most three-pointers made in a season with 212. Beasley passed Sadiq Bey, who made 211 long bombs 3 years ago. Pistons main man Cade Cunningham also had a stellar outing, finishing with 20 points, 6 rebounds, and 7 assists. The rebuilding Bulls also rewrote their franchise record book for the wrong reasons, as they missed their first 23-point attempts. Detroit rises to 6th place in the East with 28 wins and 26 losses. Chicago drops to 10th place with 22 victories against 32 setbacks.
Meantime, big games for Karl Anthony Towns and Josh Hart to lead the New York Knicks past the Indiana Pacers. Final score here is 128-115 as the Knicks get their first victory in Indianapolis since April of 2023. Towns and Hart both tallied double-doubles, with Cat finishing with 40 points and 12 rebounds. Hart, meanwhile, scored 30 markers and grabbed 10 boards. Indy's All-Star Pascal Siakam fought gallantly, scoring 24 points in a losing cause. The Knicks remain as a solid 3rd seed in the East with 35 wins and 18 losses. They're currently 5.5 games ahead of the 4th seed, the Pacers. At the post-game press con, Indiana head coach Rick Carlisle elaborated on what went wrong for his squad.
Well, there were a lot of issues. Certainly, Towns had a great night. He was, almost impossible to deal with tonight because he's making outside shots and causing a lot of damage on the inside. And a lot of the plays were so quick, you couldn't even get to him with double teams. So, he played great. Obviously, Hart was a major problem with rebounding, cutting, and transition. We did a good job on Brunson, but too many other guys got going. McBride had a huge night. So did Shamet, and we just we were not good, and we struggled, and it was just a rough night.
Two struggling teams collide in the city of brotherly love, with the Toronto Raptors catching a break against the Philadelphia 76ers. Scotty Barnes was on point, posting 35 points and 10 rebounds to lead the Raps past the Sixers 106-103. T-Dot was in the driver's seat for most of the game and only saw significant resistance late in the final quarter. Still, the Raptors kept hitting timely buckets to keep their opponents at bay. Joel Embiid gave Philly 27 markers and 12 boards, but committed a costly turnover in the final seconds. Tyrese Maxey went cold, finishing with only 5 points while missing a 3-ball that would have forced overtime. Toronto is currently 13th in the East with 17 wins and 37 losses. Philadelphia is 11th with 20 victories and 33 defeats. After the game, Barnes talked about having an aggressive mindset heading into the battle.
Just being able to talk to the coaches, watching film myself, just wanted to be aggressive going downhill, showing us some bursts, being able to just try to get past the defender. I think yesterday, just going on Instagram, and I was like watching something from Matt Barnes, and he was talking about something. So he was talking about how I can't go to the rim, can't get past the people. So I think that kind of motivated me a little bit as well. So I was trying to get to the rim, be able to use my burst of speed, getting to the rim, getting fouls, getting free layups. I felt great today.
Although Brandon Ingram has yet to play for the Raptors because of his sprained ankle, his future with the team, though, is already secured. The former All-Star has signed a 3-year extension with Toronto. The deal is reportedly worth $120 million or close to 7 billion pesos. The Raptors acquired Ingram less than a week ago in a trade with the New Orleans Pelicans. In exchange, Toronto sent Bruce Brown, Kelly Olynyk, and draft capital to New Orleans. Ingram has appeared in just 18 games this season, averaging 22.2 points, 5.6 rebounds, and 5.2 assists per contest.
The Los Angeles Lakers are getting that much-needed big man depth after signing free agent Alex Len. The veteran center was traded from the Sacramento Kings to the Washington Wizards last week as part of the deal that sent Marcus Smart to the Wiz. After getting waived, Len reportedly wanted to sign with the Indiana Pacers, but after LA's botched trade with the Charlotte Hornets for Mark Williams, Len decided to sign with the Lakers instead. To make room for the 31-year-old Ukrainian on the roster, the Lakers waived injured big man Christian Wood. Len, a 12-year vet, has averaged 6.7 points and 5.3 rebounds in his career. Coming up, we'll talk to Gilas head coach Tim Cohn ahead of the team's campaign in the third window of the FIBA Asia Cup qualifiers, as well as his club Barangay Ginebra San Miguel's current playoff run. That and more when Play-by-Play returns.
Ikaw tinatawagan? Miss ko. And we're back. Thank you for joining us here on Play-by-Play, only on One News. The PBA may be on a break, but Barangay Ginebra San Miguel head coach Tim Cohn still has his hands full as Gilas Pilipinas prepares to resume its campaign in the FIBA Asia Cup 2025 qualifiers.
To talk to us about national team duties and his local club's ongoing pursuit of the PBA Commissioner's Cup title, we've got Coach Tim himself live via Zoom. Good evening. Thank you for your time, Coach. We know you're busy.
Well, actually, I'm packing my clothes because we're leaving for Doha tomorrow morning at 9:30. So we just got out of camp 5 o'clock this afternoon. So it's just been whirlwind right now ever since the series got over with Morocco.
Mm-hmm. Nice hat, by the way. I like his hat.
Yeah, Coach. Lots of preps. Lots of preps, many things to do before you leave. As you mentioned, you're flying to Doha tomorrow, so we just want to know how the team looks now as before you fly out.
Well, we're a little scattered at the moment. Not everybody has been participating in practice at this point. Chris Newsom is in what we call a new. He's in the EASL game at this point, and Carl Tamayo has a game tonight in Korea, so he won't be able to leave till tomorrow. And then Kevin Kimbao just arrived about 4 o'clock this afternoon, so he missed the camp. But the three of them will all join us in Doha and have a chance to play there. In the meantime, Dwight rolled his ankle in his last game, but he was a part-time participant in the camp. But we expect him to be ready for the first game. Justin's been recovering from a hip problem, so he missed the first day, got into a little bit of the second day. So, and then Troy Rosario's been out throughout the camp with a knee injury. So we're kind of scattered out. RJ Abarientos and Ralph Koo came up and filled out the bodies for us in camp, and really helped us out. So they were just there to help us practice, make sure we had enough bodies to go up and down the floor. So they were a big help.
Coach, you're a pretty banged up team right now. A lot of things going on, as you pointed out and elaborated. But of course, big loss is Kai Soto, big man going down. You did mention Troy Rosario with a knee is also nursing. Of course, you still have AJ, Edu, and the other bigs. But who do you expect to fill in the role of course, for Kai and the other bigs that you have to beef up, especially in the last in this window? And it will be challenging, Coach, because it will be, of course, as far as your front line is concerned, against Chinese Taipei on the 20th, and then against New Zealand on the 23rd, and they're a pretty tall team. So how will you address those big issues?
Well, there's no one who's going to fill in the shoes of Kai Soto. He is so unique. He's a unicorn, and no one can do what he does for us. So that's not something we're going to worry about. We can't use that as an excuse. We can't, it's devastating for us. It's devastating for him. But basically, you just got to move on. And, we're going to be waiting with bated breath for him to return to the team, whenever that may happen. And obviously, we won't rush him back. But, as soon as we can get him back, that's really going to elevate us. In the meantime, we just have to do a different approach. AJ Edu is going to join us for the first time. He's a great defensive player. Jamie is going to join us, and he's a really good defensive wing. So we're hoping those two guys can really elevate our defense and contribute that way. They're not going to make up for Kai's offense. We still got Jumar and Justin and Dwight. Our guard Scotty and New. And the way Carl Tamayo and Kevin Kimbao were playing in Korea, they've lifted their games different levels. So we're going to expect more from them as well.
Yep. As Andre mentioned, banged up team. Troy with a swollen knee. Justin, I think, with a foot blister. And I'm sure you guys are finding ways to manage all these minor injuries. But looking forward, let's talk about Chinese Taipei, Coach. What are you expecting from them?
Well, they've made some big changes. They changed their naturalized player to a 7-footer. He had like 6 or 7 blocks in their game against New Zealand, and they played New Zealand right to the very end. And New Zealand broke away at the end, and this was in New Zealand, so they really played well down there. They changed their coach. They have a different coach now, a German. I believe he's German coach. I'm not sure if he's German actually. But he has changed the way they've played. So I think they're going to be playing in Taiwan. They're going to be a tough load for us. Again, we have Kai there to help dominate in size-wise. So we're going to have to attack in different ways. We're preparing hard. We're going to try to make sure key guys in our team do not get too overplayed in Doha, and so they're not at the top of their game coming in against Taiwan. That's going to be one of our concerns going to Doha.
Coach, as I mentioned, you'll be facing New Zealand after Taipei on the 23rd. And last time we faced New Zealand, that was historical because it was a historic win. The Philippines finally beat New Zealand in a FIBA competition. What are you expecting this time around from the Tall Blacks, considering both teams are already through to the FIBA Asia Cup?
Well, they changed their lineup by 7 guys. So of the 12 guys they had, they're bringing in 6 or 7 new guys. 2 or 3 of them are guys that were from the World Cup team back in 2023 that were playing on foreign teams and didn't come and join. Obviously they weren't happy about getting beat by us. I think that was totally unexpected by them. And so then now they're gonna go home right now, go and want to protect their home court. So they're really elevating their lineup. We know the guys, we've seen them play. We know how good they are, and it's gonna be a chore for us to go out there and try to beat them in their home court. But I may say no one thought we could beat them in here in Manila. There's no reason why we can't beat them there.
Coach, let's pivot a bit. Let's talk about the PBA just a little bit. We're going to maximize the time we have with you. So let's talk the playoffs.
I got to change my hat.
Okay, there you go.
There you go.
I like that. Yes, reverse that. So first,
Never now.
Inebra naman, Coach. The first time I've seen Coach Tim Con reverses that and wear it backwards. Coach, let's talk about Northport because you beat them. Northport beat you in the elimination round, and they're a pretty solid team. What a great conference for Northport. Just a solid campaign all around. And here in the playoffs, it's going to be different because it's a best of 7. It's a 7-game series. You know this more than anybody. It will be a series of adjustments pretty much. So what do you think will you do? Of course, you're focusing on Gilas now per se, but when talking about or preparing for Northport, what adjustments will you be making, probably doing more of or less of, facing a really solid, tough team like Northport in a 7-game series?
Well, right after we lost to them, one of the things I said, and we found out, and we weren't sure about that before we played them, but we found out very quickly during that game that they are for real. That's a real team. They're solid all the way up and down the lineup. Their import Jack fills out a lot of what they need in terms of the rebounding, the rim protection, the ability to score inside. And then they have elite players on the perimeter in Arvin, in Monzon. They're all the way through their lineup. They have guys that can hurt you on the perimeter. They're very good in the open court. They do a really good job of playing in to out, playing inside to Jack and kicking back out to their guards. And Monzon is a really good defender. He really leads their defense, and they base their defense a lot on turnovers and forcing turnovers. So, those are the things we're all going to have to get in count. We're going to have to take account of and try to find counters for. How can we defend Jack? How can we get out on their shooters? How well can we protect the ball? Can we control tempo? These are questions that we're going to have and answer as we go through the series.
Well, Coach, in an ideal world, we'd all be like Energizer bunnies where we could just keep going and going and going. But unfortunately, we are only human. So when it comes to the fatigue factor, on your end in this series against Northport, considering, of course, a number of your guys are also in the national team. Yeah,
and practice players too, like Ku and the Barrientos.
How?
It's definitely an issue, and that's just part of the sacrifice that you do, for the national team. It was done before us when, Chart was coaching the team, and he had, 4 or 5 or 6 talking text players that were there. They had to go through that. I remember a game where Chart was overseas coaching in the middle of the finals. He couldn't coach here, and they lost a game in which he wasn't here. So, it's just part of the sacrifice that you make, and you just, these are things that you deal with when you're coaching the national team or playing for the national team and things you just have to overcome. You know, the easy things would just be to throw your hands up and say, oh, we can't do it. But, you know, we have a responsibility not only to the country when it comes to Gilas, but we have a responsibility to the Endeavor fans and the Endeavor management and SMC to make sure that we are being able to play, you know, change one hat to another and focus in. So, you know, I think our guys are going to lock in. I think the guys that are playing in Gilas, they're going to be playing at a high level because they have to be able to compete with teams like London and New Zealand and the like. So that's really going to sharpen their game, I think. I think it's going to make them better as opposed to just coming in for the next 2 weeks and practicing every day. So, you know, this may be a good thing for us. But you know, as a coach and as staff, we're going to have to really monitor how many minutes these guys get through the Doha series, that we don't exhaust everybody. But when it comes to Taiwan and New Zealand, all bets are off. We're not going to save anybody.
Yeah.
We're not going to save anybody for the semifinals. If Justin has to play 40 minutes a game against Taiwan and New Zealand to win those games, he's going to play 40 minutes a game. And that's just, again, the sacrifice that we have to do. And we'll worry about it when we come home and get into the series.
Coach, thank you again for your time. Have a safe flight tomorrow. Thank you once again, Coach Tim.
Thank you, Coach Tim.
All the best. Yeah, thank you.
Daldal talaga, Coach Tim.
We
One
love
and only.
Coach Tim. Coming up, the matchups for the first round of the 2025 NBA All-Star Mini Tournament are set. Find out who's going against whom to tip off the Mid-Season Classic. Play-by-play will be right back. Welcome back. You're watching Play-by-Play on One News. PVL All-Filipino action is on tap tomorrow at the PhilSports Arena in Pasig City. In the first serving, the next-led Chameleons will try to follow up their first win in the conference as they take on the streaking Choco Mucho Flying Titans. This match will start at 4 p.m. Then for the main event, the Signal HD Spikers will also go for back-to-back wins as they battle the Zeus Coffee Thunderbells at 6:30 p.m. You can catch both games live on One Sports, One Sports Plus, and on the Pilipinas Live app.
Okay, we've got an all-NBA lineup for you in tonight's highlight reel. Let's start off with the Pistons and the Bulls. Here's Ayo Dosunmu, makes a bad pass to Asar Thompson on the break, or the Pistons Hardaway back to Thompson. We always talk about Amen Thompson. We talk about the younger brother, younger twin this time, the younger of the Thompson twins, Asar Thompson rolling. He had a couple of highlights on this one, and that's one of Hardaway's 3 assists. And Thompson, by the way, scoring 16 in this one, had 4 dimes, 4 steals, and 2 blocks. He was just all over the place here in Chicago. The Pistons flat out dominate. Take a look at the score. At one point there, up by 40 plus. And they just beat the Bulls 132-92. On to the next one, the Grizzlies against the Suns. Here's Ja Morant on the break, avoiding Jones and then shifting, switching hands over the 7-footer Bol. Take a look at Ja Morant. No dunking this time, but still a highlight. Woo! A lot of reverse in today's games. Look at that. Ja Morant, just a pure athleticism. Morant finishing with 26.7 boards, 6 assists as the Grizz, once again, we mentioned earlier, beat the Suns 119-112, spoiling Kevin Durant's historic night. Okay, lastly, the Knicks against the Pacers. Here's Cat trapped by Thomas Bryant, right? Nope, he goes baseline, slamming with 2 hands. Woo! over Thomas Bryant. There, take a look at this play. And Aaron Neesmith tried to help, but hesitated. Look at Towns also staring down Thomas Bryant after that play. And the Knicks bench going crazy over Cat. And he's just out of his bag here, finishing with 40 points, 12 boards, 5 assists, 3 steals for the All-Star. The Knicks take down the Pacers in Indy, 128-115.
Thank you for the highlights, Andre. And before we go, the stage is set for an exciting first round in the all-new NBA All-Star Mini Tournament. In the first semifinal, Kenny Smith's Young Stars, led by Jalen Brunson and Anthony Edwards, will take on Charles Barkley's Global Stars, featuring international standouts like Giannis Antetokounmpo and Nikola Jokic. The second semifinal will see Shaquille O'Neal's OGs, headlined by LeBron James and Steph Curry, going up against Candace Parker's Rising Stars. The WNBA Legends team will be determined by the winner of the Rising Stars game. The 2 semifinal winners will then face off in the championship game. The NBA's mid-season classic is almost here. See the NBA's biggest superstars and watch the 2025 NBA All-Star Weekend live from February 15 to 17 on NBA TV Philippines, One Sports, RPTV, and Pilipinas Live.
The 2025 NBA All-Star Weekend is heading to the Bay Area. Witness the razzle-dazzle skills, the long-range bombs, gravity-defying slam dunks, and the grandest star-studded basketball exhibition on the planet. Catch the NBA All-Star Weekend from February 15 to 17 on NBA TV Philippines, One Sports, RPTV, and Pilipinas Live.
I'm personally excited for this one, Check. Kasi pabago siya na pabago ng format. This is a new format, di ba? So it's exciting to have parang mini tournament. Yeah. And again, as Cheska mentioned, catch the games on One Sports, RPTV, and Pilipinas Live, also on NBA TV Philippines. And that's it from us tonight. You can catch us again tomorrow at 9 p.m. for a play-by-play of today's top sports stories.
Play-by-play is on One News, that's Signal TV Channel 8 on SG and Channel 250 on HD. We are also available on Signal Play and Pilipinas Live.
I'm Andre Felix.
And I'm Cheska Calao. Thank you for watching. Good night.